Hello, welcome to Gallery Route One's Artist Interviews. I am Diana Marto, moderator of our new program, and I'm speaking today with Mimi Abers, who is a ceramic and glass artist. Hi, Mimi. Welcome to the program.
Hi, how are you?
I'm pretty good, and you may be hearing ambient sounds because we're interviewing Mimi from her deck, and she's got crows and birds and dogs hanging out. So
They've quieted a bit.
well, I think it's fun because it sort of like makes from a bigger reality. So I'm
Okay.
curious to talk to you and to learn about what your process has been since I would say March 18th, since we all had to be sheltering in place. And I'm also curious to know about how intuition and your dreams affect your work.
Okay. Actually, things started a little before March. In the fall, I started making these things which I didn't know where they're coming from, but they were sort of abstract things looking dangerous. They were kind of abstract ribbons looking and threatening. And I had no idea where it happened. And that was all. I finished six of those pieces in January, I think. And then my granddaughter was visiting me, and the whole pandemic started. And at first, I couldn't work because I had my granddaughter with me. But then when I went back into my studio, she left at the end of March. I by that time I knew about the pandemic, and at first I continued with the dangerous pieces, and then it started making pieces I made this big oval one, which is in one of the photographs, which I called Omega, or the end of everything. And I'm grinding it in the piece because the bottom wasn't completely flat and I have to attach it to
Is
something
that
to
this
make it
one?
hold up. And then I started truly, didn't even know that I would do this. I sometimes wake up in the middle of the night with a dream that is about the work or actually a piece of work. And sometimes it becomes a work. And sometimes it just makes me think a little more. I do a lot of drawings at first before when I'm starting a new body of work. And I was drawing all this period. And, and sometimes when I finally get the drawing of something that I like, I make that into sculpture. And it doesn't always turn out like the drawing, but it gets the piece started. And that's where I am now, continuing with making pieces that are sort of shelter in place pieces. One of them I'm calling Shattered in Place, because during the pandemic, I couldn't get the clay that I normally use, which is sturdy. And I used this throwing clay, and that piece kind of broke. And so that's my Shattered in. We may be able to salvage it. We haven't decided yet.
So the snake image happened in the fall.
In the fall, yes. After I had been gone, I think so. It must have been October because I was gone in September. Oh, and I had uh, a little show up, and I always take a little break right after I have a show. I had a little show back in the annex, and so when I got back, I think in October I took down that show, and I had a little pause. So actually, it might have been November that I started making those pieces. Can't quite remember, but that's what they were. They were definitely threatening looking, and rather like ribbons threatening you, or snakes, something
Yes.
like. Okay.
Yes, absolutely. And this one to me, when I look at it, because you had told me that you were working with the image of snakes, I saw snakes in this, in the green and the yellow. And could you
Uh-huh.
talk about this piece a little bit?
I can't see it, but I'll tell you
Oh,
about it. That piece, one of the things I've missed is I'm a swimmer, and that's my main exercise. All the things in the pandemic that I've missed, that's the most that I can't swim. And I'd actually been working on this piece. I started it a very long time ago, and then it wasn't really finished, and I didn't like it, so I kind of redid it, and then I didn't make it right, and it cracked in the kiln, so I made it again. But it was always about swimming. And those little black things are actually, if you swim in a pool, you see lines sort of zigzagging as you're going through the pool. That's kind of, you see, and shadows. That's what you see as you're swimming, and that's what those lines came from.
Oh, it looked
But
kind of creature-like to me. That looked kind of ominous to me,
they
actually.
looked ominous. They are ominous because they could be ominous. Because if you're swimming in a different kind of water, there might be things in there, and they do look ominous. I agree.
Yeah.
And there is a story about that. Did you ever read The Tin Drum? It was a
Years
Second
ago.
World War movie by I'm trying to think of his name, a German guy. In it, there are these eels. They catch eels in a
Yes.
horse's head, and his wife hates them, and at some point she's very unhappy, so she makes herself eat them until she dies. So
Oh,
that I've always, and this is something, I mean, it was like I read that book probably in the 60s, and it's something I've always had this creepy feeling about eels in water, so that some of that
wow.
comes from that.
And invisibility, invisibility. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like the virus is invisible, and but yet it's lurking,
exactly.
present.
So it's part of that. The virus is something that's in the environment what we can't see. So the danger in my pieces, you can kind of see danger, but you don't in the world, and we don't know where it comes from or
Yes,
how we get it.
yes, yes, yes. But I think this is a very arresting piece, and I think that that's a good amount of time for us to be together with just this little snapshot of your work. And I want to thank you so much for being with us today. And I look forward to seeing what's going to be happening with your work as we continue to have some more time to ourselves in our
Yes.
studios.